the ringtone echoed, the screen lit up, and with a single casual FaceTime call on a Hulu reality show, a billionaire beauty mogul just completely shattered the perfect illusion of Hollywood motherhood.
Yeah, it was this really startling moment of vulnerability, because when Kylie Jenner stared into that camera and said, "The thought of another pregnancy right now feels insane," the entire narrative around her life and her family planning and really her whole curated image, it just stopped on a dime.
It really did. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
That's right.
And today, our mission is to take a deep dive into just a massive stack of recent sources. We are pulling from Page Six, British Vogue, legal blogs, and these really deeply revealing podcast interviews to kind of piece together the complicated truth about Kylie Jenner's family planning.
Yeah, and we're looking at the terrifying medical traumas that she kept hidden, and what all of this means for her really high-profile romance with Timothée Chalamet.
Right, because we are looking at a woman who has lived her entire life, like literally her whole life, in the glare of the public eye.
Since she was, what, 9 years old?
Exactly, 9 years old. Yet, as we'll explore today, she has somehow managed to keep some of her most harrowing, physically transformative experiences completely hidden from the cameras.
Up until this exact moment.
Right, until now. So let's set the scene for how this all came out, because it started off so casually.
Very casual.
Yeah. So we are watching a recent episode of Khloe Kardashian's Hulu series, The Girls. And Khloe's friend, Iris Palmer, is on screen talking about her own family planning.
Mm-hmm.
And Iris mentions that she physically doesn't want to endure another pregnancy, so she's openly considering a surrogate.
Right.
And then Kylie enters the chat via FaceTime. Iris asks for her take on it, and Kylie's response is just incredibly blunt.
Very. She says, and I quote, "Trust me, the thought of carrying another baby right now feels insane."
Insane.
Yeah, but she doesn't even stop there. When asked if she would consider surrogacy herself, she says she is 99.9% sure she couldn't do it.
Which is just, that's a fascinating boundary for her to draw, especially when you look at the specific context of her family.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the Kardashian-Jenner family has essentially rewritten the modern playbook on surrogacy.
They really have. And to understand the boundary, we have to understand that family history.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at this breakdown from the Song Law Group.
Oh, this is Surrogacy law firm.
Exactly, the law firm. And their analysis points out that the Kardashians were among the very first major celebrities to discuss their surrogacy experiences openly, without an ounce of shame.
Wow, yeah.
They really helped completely destigmatize the process for the public. Look at Kim. Kim used surrogacy for her children, Chicago and Psalm.
Right, but that was for medical reasons, wasn't it?
It was. She suffered from a condition called placenta accreta.
Okay, for people who don't know, what is that exactly?
Well, it's a condition where the placenta grows way too deeply into the uterine wall.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it doesn't attach properly, so it can cause massive, genuinely life-threatening blood loss during delivery.
Wow. So for Kim, it wasn't like a luxury choice. It was a medical necessity just to stay alive.
Precisely. And then, you look at Khloe, who used a surrogate for her son, Tatum.
Right.
She faced these devastating struggles with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome, and endometriosis.
Which is super painful, right?
Incredibly painful. These are conditions that involve abnormal tissue growth and hormonal imbalances. They can cause chronic debilitating pain and just make conceiving and carrying a child incredibly difficult and high risk.
Wow.
And even Kourtney, after a very public and terrifying health scare during her recent pregnancy, is reportedly contemplating surrogacy for her next child.
Okay, so this brings me right back to my confusion. I have to push back here.
Go for it.
If your own sisters have completely normalized this process,
yeah,
and they've shown that a surrogate can safely bring a child into a loving home, and you possess literally limitless wealth to afford the absolute best medical and surrogate care in the entire world.
Right, unlimited resources.
Why be 99.9% against it? It just feels like a massive contradiction to me. If she is wealthy enough to bypass physical trauma, why refuse the shortcut?
Well, it really comes down to how Kylie defines her own identity as a mother. If you look at her exact phrasing in that FaceTime call, she reasons that she has big, healthy babies and therefore sees no reason to use a surrogate.
No reason.
Right. But if we peel back the layers of that statement, it highlights this profound psychological desire for a deeply physical, intensely personal connection to her pregnancies.
Like she wants to be the vessel.
Exactly. She wants to be the biological vessel. For her, the physical toll of carrying the child seems intrinsically tied to feeling like a mother. She isn't judging her sisters at all, but for her own journey, she requires that physical connection.
I hear that. I do. But it still feels baffling when you look at the evidence. Because if the biological vessel aspect is so important to her, why would she call the idea of doing it again insane?
Right.
Like, there has to be a disconnect there.
And that is the exact question that leads us to the hidden truth here, because the real reason she called another pregnancy insane involves a terrifying medical crisis she hid from the entire world.
Oh my gosh. Wait, if you're loving these Hollywood twists and unpacking the real stories behind the headlines, make sure you're subscribed. Because we've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
Yeah.
Because this next part, it completely shattered my perception of her life.
Same here. It's really heavy.
Yeah. And to really grasp what happened, I feel like we need to create some emotional contrast first.
Let's do it.
Let's rewind to her first pregnancy with her daughter, Stormy, who is now 8 years old, by the way.
Crazy how time flies.
Right. But during that pregnancy, Kylie famously locked herself away, like she vanished from the public eye.
Total media blackout.
Yeah. And when the news finally broke, she admitted she sobbed for 3 hours straight under the crushing weight of public scrutiny. But physically, she described carrying Stormy as a total breeze.
Yeah, she said it was easy. The trauma with Stormy was entirely psychological. It was driven by the intense media circus surrounding a young, hidden pregnancy.
Right.
But her second pregnancy, with her son Air, who is now 4, that was a physical nightmare.
Just a total 180.
Completely. According to a deeply revealing interview she just gave on Jake Shane's therapist podcast, everything that could go wrong with her body literally did go wrong.
I was reading the details from the Complex article covering this interview, and they are staggering.
Yeah, they're intense.
She was only 12 weeks along when she was hit with severe sciatica and lower back pain.
At 12 weeks.
Right. And we aren't just talking about like a sore back. Sciatica is severe nerve pain that radiates down the legs, and it got so bad that she literally could not walk.
Oh.
She went into the pregnancy thinking she was going to be in the best shape of her life, and suddenly, at just 3 months in, she is completely immobilized.
Just bedridden.
Yeah. And she ended up gaining 65 pounds and was surviving on carbs and ice cream just to combat the relentless daily nausea.
But as bad as that sounds, the sciatica and the nausea actually pale in comparison to the most shocking detail from the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. She revealed that for almost 2 months, she was 3 centimeters dilated.
Okay, wait, for anyone listening who hasn't been pregnant or doesn't know the mechanics of this, can you explain why being 3 centimeters dilated that early on is such a massive red flag?
Oh, absolutely. So the cervix acts as a gatekeeper at the bottom of the uterus.
Okay.
It is supposed to stay tightly closed and thick for the entirety of the pregnancy to keep the baby safely inside.
Right, that makes sense.
It typically doesn't start dilating or opening up until you are actively ready to go into labor at, 39 or 40 weeks.
So it's supposed to stay completely shut.
Yes. So being 3 centimeters dilated for months means her body was prematurely preparing for labor way too early. The gate was opening.
Oh my gosh.
Doctors had to put her on strict bed rest. And not just to rest her back from the sciatica, but to manage gravity.
Gravity.
Yeah, because if she stood up and walked around, the physical weight of the baby pressing down on an already opening cervix could have triggered premature labor.
Wow.
To use Kylie's own horrifying words from the interview, she felt like the baby was falling out.
I literally just can't get that image out of my head.
It's terrifying.
It is. We look at billionaires and we assume that money buys a frictionless life.
Right, sure.
You think of Kylie Jenner and you think of this flawlessly curated empire, the private jets, perfect red carpets. But biology doesn't care about your net worth.
It really doesn't.
Stripped of all the glamour, the reality was a young woman trapped in a bed in excruciating pain, terrified every single time she moved that she was going to lose her child.
It completely reframes her insane comment on Hulu, doesn't it? When you have experienced your own body failing you to that degree, when you have been told your baby is literally at risk of falling out, the prospect of doing it again isn't just a casual family planning decision.
Yeah.
It is a massive physical mountain to climb.
And the mountain didn't even end after she gave birth. I was reading the excerpts from British Vogue and Grazia, and they delve into her battles with severe postpartum depression.
Yeah, that was really sad to read.
She suffered from it for a full year after both children. But with Air, after that incredibly traumatic pregnancy, the postpartum experience was just agonizing.
Yeah, the Grazia piece really highlights the hormonal and emotional crash she experienced. She talked about having major baby blues, which is a severe emotional plunge caused by the rapid drop in hormones after childbirth.
Right.
To the point where she felt like a total failure.
Over his name. She felt like a failure over picking his name.
Oh, yeah, the name change.
She was paralyzed over it. She initially named him Wolf, then changed it, and she admitted she almost named him Night.
Right.
Yeah, Night. And she said that triggered this terrifying spiral of guilt. She was crying hysterically on the phone to her mom all day, believing her son deserved better because she couldn't even give him a name she felt confident in.
Wow.
Even if you don't care about Hollywood gossip, this is such a fascinating look at the illusion of having it all. Like, take away the billions, and she's just a mother weeping on the phone, feeling completely inadequate.
It really raises a crucial point about the timeline of healing, too. She mentioned in that same Vogue interview that the postpartum depression lasted a full year, and she is only finally feeling like herself again.
Wow.
So when Yaris Palmer asks her about another baby, Kylie isn't just talking about avoiding pregnancy. She is talking about avoiding another multi-year cycle of physical trauma, immobility, and severe depression.
Yeah, she is in pure survival mode. She just wants to heal in private and protect her peace. Which honestly makes her current life choices so incredibly baffling to me. Because just as she is craving isolation and recovering from this immense trauma, she enters a deeply serious relationship with a man whose career demands the exact opposite.
Right.
Hollywood's most visible leading man, Timothée Chalamet. And that's not even the wildest part. Later in this deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist to her life plan that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, the dynamic between Kylie and Timothée is so fascinating because it forces us to look at how two massive, really contrasting brands try to merge.
Let's look at the timeline here.
Yeah.
They've been together since 2023, following her split from Travis Scott.
Right?
And they have been incredibly private, rarely stepping out together officially. They're almost protective of this bubble they've built. But at the same time, it is deeply serious.
Very serious.
Think back to the Critics' Choice Awards earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Timothée is up on stage winning an award, and he gives her this massive, completely unprompted shout-out.
I remember that.
He said, "Thank you for our foundation. I love you. I couldn't do this without you."
It was a defining public milestone for them, and it aligns perfectly with the reporting from NewsFizz and Vanity Fair.
How so?
Well, because despite the physical trauma of her past pregnancies, Kylie confirmed recently that she absolutely wants more kids with Timothée.
Really? Even after calling it insane?
Yeah, she just wants them on her own timeline.
There.
Right now, she is firmly in a focus on me era.
Right.
She's prioritizing her businesses, traveling, and simply enjoying being a healthy mom to Stormy and Air.
And what's interesting is that Timothée seems to be on the exact same page. He isn't rushing her, but he is heavily family-oriented.
He is. In a recent Vogue interview, Timothy addressed the topic of children and family directly. He said kids could be on the radar.
Could be on the radar?
Right. But what's really telling is his critique of modern culture. He mentioned watching a viral video of someone bragging about their child-free lifestyle.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah, talking about how much free time and disposable income it afforded them. And Timothée called that mindset bleak.
Bleak. Wow. That is a very specific, very heavy word for a young Hollywood A-lister to use.
It really is.
It shows he inherently values family over the sheer freedom of a Hollywood bachelor lifestyle. So they both want kids. They are building this foundation. But here's where I am really struggling to reconcile their relationship.
Okay. Why?
I'm looking at this incredible piece of archival reporting from the Economic Times, and it completely changes how we should be viewing Kylie's timeline.
Ah, yes. This is the piece of the puzzle that changes everything. To understand Kylie's future with Timothée, we have to look at a prophecy she made a decade ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Back in 2015, a teenage Kylie gave a very candid interview where she laid out her ultimate life plan.
Right.
She stated clearly by the time she hit 30, she wanted to completely leave the spotlight. She wanted to move to a farm in Malibu, raise chickens, and just have a family off the map, done with fame.
And I would normally write that off as just a teenager talking, just a fleeting fantasy of a kid exhausted by reality TV. But she wasn't just talking about it. In 2020, at age 22, During the pandemic quarantine, she started taking the first literal steps toward this life.
Yeah, she did.
She built this extensive, legitimate backyard garden. She was on social media showing off watermelons, pomegranates, strawberries, cucumbers that she grew herself.
Oh, yeah, I remember the garden posts.
She was literally practicing an agricultural life while running a billion-dollar cosmetics empire.
Exactly. It reveals a deeply rooted desire for isolation and simplicity that has been brewing in her for a decade. She didn't just want a quiet weekend away from the paparazzi. She has been actively fantasizing about and practicing for a secluded life since she was a teenager.
So let's do the math on this timeline. The year is 2026.
Right.
Kylie Jenner is 29 years old.
Right.
She is exactly 1 year away from her self-imposed deadline to vanish into the Malibu hills and raise chickens. 1 year.
The clock is ticking.
So when she says having a baby right now feels insane, is it just because of the physical trauma? Or is it because she is in a holding pattern, consolidating her energy and setting the stage for her grand exit from the Kardashian spotlight?
Well, it is highly likely a combination of both. I mean, she is healing her body and she is preparing for a massive lifestyle shift.
Yeah.
But this raises an incredibly important logistical question when we bring Timothy back into the frame.
Exactly.
How does an Oscar-nominated, red carpet-dominating actor fit into a secluded Malibu chicken farm?
That is the friction I can't stop thinking about. It's like trying to merge two completely different operating systems.
That's a good way to put it.
Timothy's career requires a constant high-speed Wi-Fi connection to Hollywood, He needs massive global press tours, red carpet premieres, and constant visibility just to maintain his status as a leading man.
Yeah, you have to be seen.
Meanwhile, Kylie is actively trying to put her entire life in airplane mode.
It is a fascinating juxtaposition because on one hand, they share this beautiful foundational desire for family. They agree that a life without that kind of deep familial connection is bleak.
Right.
But the environment in which they need to exist seems to be pulling in two vastly different directions. Timothy's livelihood requires him to be seen. Kylie's ultimate dream requires her to be invisible.
It is the ultimate Hollywood paradox. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next as we continue to track this story, because something eventually has to give.
Something has to give.
Will it be the farm? Will it be the fame? Can someone who has been on camera since she was 9 years old actually just walk away and raise chickens?
Or will they find a compromise that redefines what a Hollywood power couple looks like? It leaves us with a lingering, really provocative question that isn't fully resolved in any of these sources. If Kylie's ultimate goal truly is that quiet, off-the-map agricultural life, and Timothy's star is only continuing to rise in massive blockbusters, will their deeply rooted foundations survive the inevitable collision of their two very different futures?
That is the question.
Only time will tell if the Malibu farm remains a fantasy or if it becomes the ultimate test of their relationship.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.